And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
We go out, we hit people in the mouth, number one. Number two, we are not a charity. We cannot give them the game. That's number two. And number three is we execute from the very start of the game to the very end of the game. That did not happen. I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
Good evening. My name is Cameron Gooseby. Tonight, I will be talking about a very special topic that has to do with my favorite team, my favorite football team, the Chicago Bears. Last Tuesday, they did the impossible. They did the unthinkable. They traded for Russell Wilson. And you know that I'm completely lying when I said they traded for Russell Wilson. In reality, we've gotten a 34-year-old quarterback, and his name is Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has had a great career, right? Has had a great career in the great city of Cincinnati. He's led them to 4 playoff appearances. He didn't really have any dominance in the AFC North. He didn't have any sort of dominance there. But Andy Dalton, we signed a quarterback, the replacement for Mitchell Trubisky. We got Andy Dalton, a 34-year-old quarterback who did not have a great time in Dallas last season. I mean, the man barely passed the ball, barely had 2,000 passing yards, and we're considering him our starter. Ooh, our starter. 2,000 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and you promise him to be your passer, and yet you pay him $10 million, which I find mind-boggling, because with $10 million shouldn't have been a thing this season. Want to know why? Because guess what? Last season, we paid Nick Foles, right? Last season, we paid Nick Foles $21 million, yet we could have signed Andy Dalton last year, and we could have signed him for, what, a 1-year, $3 million contract? So, you see what I mean? The Bears have no knowledge when it comes to money, and they have no knowledge when it comes to going into the free agent pool. They have no knowledge. And then, like I said, with $21 million last year for Nick Foles, you saw the numbers he put up, and you saw what we had to go through with Nick Foles in 7 games as him as a starter. We went 2-5 with him, and where is that? He led us to a 6-game losing streak. A 6-game losing streak. That is not good. That's no good at all. And yet we gave the man $21 million, and yet he has never been fully durable. And Andy Dalton was never fully durable, because guess what? Both of these quarterbacks, they can't move outside the pocket. They can't do anything like that. They're only good if they have a good offensive line. And since the Chicago Bears don't have a good offensive line, that's the only reason I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that is the main reason why. That's the main reason why Nick Foles struggled last year. So if the Bears, in my mind now, since you're now getting a pocket passer, someone who doesn't scramble much out of the pocket, and Andy Dalton, now you're expecting him, now you're giving him this type of money, and guess what? He's not going to provide the same scrambling that a special someone, our former Chicago Bears starting quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, could do. He could not provide the scrambling opportunities that Mitch Trubisky could do. And then next, it really pains my heart to say this, but next, before we even considered Andy Dalton, before we even considered getting Andy Dalton as our quarterback, we were looking at Russell Wilson. And honestly, this was a good trade package, right? But also, this was a good and a bad trade package. Because guess what? This is what it's telling me right now. So now you're going to throw out Khalil Mack as trade bait. You're going to now throw out Akiem Hicks as trade bait. Now these two, in my mind, they don't want to play here for the Chicago Bears, do they? Do they really want to play for Chicago after this Bears organization put the 2 stars of the defense? I know the defense has emerging stars of Jalen Johnson and Roquan Smith, right? I know that. Look, getting back into the topic here, right? You're gonna put your 2 stars as trade bait. You're gonna put them as trade bait alongside 3 first-round picks, which I think Russell Wilson is worth 3 first-round picks, and a 3rd-round pick. But yet you're gonna throw out your 2 best members of your dominant side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. You're gonna throw your 2 best members of that side of the ball out there as trade bait. That is completely disrespectful. Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, you guys really have some work to do when it comes to trading. Because what that tells me is that you're gonna throw away a good defense just to get a good quarterback. And I know a good quarterback. We haven't had one. We've never had a good quarterback. In the past 30 years, we only had 2 Pro Bowlers, and God, I hate even saying this. In the past 35 plus years that we've had our history of quarterbacks, only 2 of them have made the Pro Bowl. One being Jim McMahon in 1985, and then number 2 in Mitchell Trubisky 2 years ago in the 2018 season. You see where I'm getting here? I get that Russell Wilson is a good quarterback, but you're going to throw away your defense just to try and go after a good quarterback. I expected better out of you. Honestly, I expected better out of you. And Khalil Mack and Akiem Hicks, in my opinion, should be feeling really disrespected after this organization put them as trade bait out there for Seattle. And if Seattle accepted it, then guess what? Our 2 main leaders are gone from the defense. And then, last but certainly not least, this is the one that pisses me off the most. You get rid of an all-pro cornerback in Kyle Fuller. You get rid of him, right? You cut him just to pay Andy Dalton. What sense does that make? You cut an $11 million contract just to pay a mediocre at best quarterback $10 million. $10 million. You cut an $11 million contract to give Andy Dalton $10 million plus $3 million in incentives. So why are you sacrificing a defense and coming up? You guys see what I'm saying here? Why are you sacrificing your all-pro cornerback? Why are you cutting him, right? And yet you bring in a guy who hasn't been great in 6+ years. What sense does that make? Why are you paying for past performance here? You know what? And here's the thing. Andy Dalton is past performance because guess what? He hasn't been, in my mind, great ever since 2014. He hasn't been great. And, it pains my heart for these Bulls fans of what I'm about to say right now. But guess what? Yeah, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan too, but listen, you know what this is sounding like? We're giving Andy Dalton $11 million, right? We gave him $11 million based off past performance, right? But do you Bulls fans remember when we gave Dwayne Wade a 2-year, $54 million contract? So my point is, you can't pay for past performance, because guess what? Past performance, although it's good, past performance looks good from the past performance doesn't provide good for the present. And like I said, I'm just about done here. Why in the world are you getting Andy Dalton? Yet you already have a quarterback in Nick Foles who you're giving $21 million. You know, what pisses me off the most is, why are you giving $30 million combined to two mediocre at best quarterbacks? I mean, can you guys answer me that? Why are you giving $30 million to two mediocre at best quarterbacks who have not been fully healthy and which both are immovable in the pocket? They do not move. I said immovable. They do not move in the pocket for whatever reason. You see what I mean? So I'm done. I'm just about tired here. I really tried keeping my emotions in check, but I'm tired. I'm done with this organization, and I don't know what else to say anymore. Anyways, if you like this video, I would like for you guys to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys later.